Not gonna lie, I have 2 chapsticks in my purse at any given time. One is mine, and the other one is Benny's wake up. That's right, her wake up. And as soon as I use my chapstick, I will immediately be prompted, I have some. It's an attempt to not have to share my chapstick with those grimy, dirty little lips. Ew. We've all seen the food crusted on your face, Benny. I don't want to share my chapstick with you. Let's get this podcast started. Welcome back to Not Gonna Lie, a Wave original brought to you by Cheerios. I'm your host, Kylie Kelsey, Jersey Shore enthusiast, the actual Jersey Shore and also the TV show. Still on a quest to adopt a cat, and I'm what TikTok describes as a type C mom. I'm still not 100% sure what the difference between a type B and a type C is. I'm going to be totally honest with you. But I'm somewhere in there. I'm definitely not type A. I can tell you that for certain. Coming up on today's episode, I'm going to get honest about the fourth trimester with a real special emphasis on how uncomfortable it is to get dressed during this particular period of time. And as a lifelong animal nerd, I'm so excited about today's guest. When Queen Emma told me we booked her, I said, and I quote, "Kiss my ass." That's an excited kiss my ass, not an actual kiss my ass. I would never say that to the Queen herself. It's wildlife conservationist and CEO of the Australia Zoo, Bindi Irwin. I can't believe I just said that. Hold on, I gotta try not to tear up. Guys, I'm 2 months postpartum. You can't hit me with like super emotional things. I will tell you, I am an animal nerd to the extent that now in everyday life, I use my children as decoys to be like, don't you want to pet the dog? It's me. I want to pet the dog. When people say that we can come and visit their farm so that the kids can check out their cows or goats or whatever else, it's me. My kids are currently obsessed with Zaboomafoo. Do you want to know why? Because I wouldn't stop putting it on. I love that fucking lemur. But before I talk to Bindi, let's kick things off with a little Can I Be Honest? I'm currently in the midst of what people call the fourth trimester, which for anyone who doesn't know is the 12 weeks or so after baby is born, and mom's body is going through all sorts of crazy shit. The fourth trimester, when you have other children, I think distracts you to some extent. It really doesn't allow you the time to think to yourself, I smell horrible right now. Horrible. And I'm sweating, but the house is cold. And I think this is a hot flash, but also I'm starving, like the hungriest I've ever been. And I feel like I haven't had a drop of water in a month. There's postpartum symptoms that people don't often talk about, but you guys made the mistake of giving me a mic. So here we are. When you start breastfeeding again, you remember that when your milk lets down, sometimes it feels like hot, fiery needles to your nipples. Are we allowed to say that? Let's see if it makes the final episode cut. I think regardless of whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding, we learned each other's cues. And that has made it a lot easier to know when she's hungry, when she's tired, when she's uncomfy because her diaper needs to be changed. All of those things are lovely milestones for mom's mental health. Hair loss. I experience hair loss when I am done breastfeeding, typically. That is when I have experienced the most hair loss. It's always in this area or in this area. They always end up like, the spiky baby hairs. I just go with it. I try my best not to look at the brush right now, honestly, because you start brushing and then it's all in there. I will say, I think one of the most fucked up, twisted things after giving birth is trying to get yourself dressed. That shit is whack. You try to put on pants and you think to yourself, I don't have a pregnant belly anymore. These are going to fit. And then the zipper is it's not even one of those situations where you zip up the pants and the button is giving you a hard time. The zipper won't even touch. The zipper said, we're at odds right now. We are not coming together. That's a moment where I'm going to say it. You got to give yourself grace. And I'm saying that because that's what I've been telling myself. I just grew a human being. And let me tell you, this is why I tell people to be open and honest and not to lie. I went into my 6-week follow-up with my angel of an OB. And I said to her, I just am having a little difficulty getting dressed. My body doesn't feel like my body. And she said, I tell everybody, you grew a human for almost a year. You really need to give yourself the space of a year to settle back into your body and to let yourself feel like yourself again. Minimum. So I bought bigger jeans and some new flowy dresses for the summertime because everybody loves a breeze. And that's all I have to say about that. That does it for Can I Be Honest About the Fourth Trimester. Next up, Doomscroll of the Week. I was doomscrolling in the middle of the night, feeding Finn, and I swiped my way to a clip from Eagles DB's Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship's new podcast where they talked about their favorite Philly slang. Queen Emma, hit it.
What is your favorite Philly slang?
I like Jawn. Jawn's probably one of my favorite. Because Jawn, you can say.
Is that how
Jawn,
you say it?
Jawn.
Did you say John or Jawn?
Oh.
Jawn.
It's John?
Jawn.
Wow. I might have to be fact checked on that. I don't know.
Cooper DeJean.
I love that he tried to make his name Philly. I do appreciate that. I will tell you, as he was saying it, and they were doing the captions, and he kept saying, John. When we captioned this, I needed to say John. Okay? John. But it's Jawn. 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 It's a Jawn. And it's not a Jawn, which I do believe was the question asked back. I am not making fun of them. They are not from the Philadelphia area. I appreciate that they are trying to learn our ways. But the word is Jawn. For anyone who doesn't know, Jawn is Jawn. Jawn is a person, place, or thing. It's literally a noun. It can be replaced in anything. Can you hand me that, Jawn? I was down at the store last week. I picked up one of those Jawns. All of that works perfectly. Some other frequent Philadelphia words that are apparently just Philadelphia. Jimmy's. You might think of them as sprinkles, specifically the long ones that can either be rainbow or chocolate. The other one, water. Water is water. It is exactly what you think it is, which is not what anyone thinks it is. It's not from here. Water is water. I do not default to water, but most of my dad's side of the family says water. A hoagie is a sub sandwich. It's a hoagie here. Don't come over here and try and call it a sub. To be fair, all of these things, and even water ice, I believe can be found at Wawa. So if you ever want just a really good time, you go down to the Wawa, you get yourself some water ice, a hoagie. You pick those Jawns up, see what happens. You know what I mean? I've been in our blooper reel from last week, people really latched onto when I said after the fact is what I said. It comes out sometimes, guys. I don't know what to tell you. I think the best Philly accent has to go to Tina Fey. It could be that she has had the opportunity to display it many times, but every single time she nails it. So, Tina, if you ever want to come have a little chat about some water ice and a hoagie, come through. I'll ask you all the questions. You know what I'm saying? And that does it for Doomscroll of the Week. Bindi Irwin is coming up right after this. We're big fans of Cheerios in the Kelsey household, and all my fellow moms out there already know Cheerios really come in clutch as the perfect toddler snack. They're just delicious. Honestly, it hits every time. And everybody knows that when your babies are starting to practice their pincer grasp and they're sitting in their high chair, Cheerios keeps them occupied for a long time. And also, they're sticky little, I don't know, why are they always wet? Why are their hands always sticky? Regardless, they could literally touch a Cheerio and it sticks to them. It's the best. Oh my gosh, it's great as a snack and an activity. And I might just have to add some new Cheerios to the mix this summer because they've got Cheerios protein flavors like cinnamon, strawberry, and the new cookies and cream. I do love cookies and cream. Cheerios works for the whole family. Plus, they've still got you covered with classics like Honey Nut Cheerios. Honey Nut Cheerios, that's my jam. And their original Cheerios made with 100% whole grain oats. Try Cheerios protein today. We all watched her alongside her dad, the crocodile hunter himself, in all their TV shows. She's won an Emmy Award as well as a Mirrorball Trophy. She's a world-renowned wildlife conservationist, the CEO of Australia Zoo, a children's book author, an advocate for women's health, and a fellow mom. Bindi Irwin, welcome to Not Gonna Lie.
Woohoo! Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I have to tell you, when I told my mom that you were coming on and that we got you, she started to tear up, which I then had to be like, Mom, don't do that. Because then I started to tear up because when I tell you, I grew up watching Animal Planet. I would come home from school and other kids would like put on like MTV or TRL and like or VH1, whatever it is. I wouldn't do that. I would come home and I would put on Animal Planet, and that's what I would watch. I am like such an animal nerd. And I mean that in the most positive way.
Awesome.
It has like, I am so excited to get to talk to you today.
Thank you.
Not only do you work at the Australia Zoo, but like I said in your intro, I've heard you actually say that you live there.
Yes.
This sounds like my dream.
Oh.
When you say live there, do you mean your house is nearby or you're actually on the zoo grounds?
Oh no, our house is right in the middle. Like our backyard has crocodiles on one side, wombats on the other, and then just like all the birds you can possibly imagine. It is literally wild. And I do have to say, you'll have to come visit us one day. We have a lodge now, and we genuinely could get you in with everything, like cuddling rhinos, feeding giraffes.
Stop.
It's so much fun. Oh my gosh.
I have heard about is it called the Crocodile Hunter Lodge?
Yes, that's right.
And I've seen that it's like glass front cabins. We can, for our YouTube viewers, we can put in actual clips of the lodge, but it is stunning.
It's
beautiful.
Thank you.
And I will absolutely take you up on that as soon as I can buckle up for 4 kids on a very, very long flight.
I know it's a big journey.
It's literally the only thing that has kept me from it.
I'm with you. Whether it's 5 years, 10 years in the future, our home is your home. And the lodge is so special because you have, all this beautiful native Aussie wildlife just in your yard. If you can come visit one day, we will make sure
I'm there.
You get the full experience and it'll be life-changing.
Yes. Now you live there with your husband and your daughter. Yeah. I know it's hard to childproof a regular house. Yes. So how do you childproof a zoo? Or does your daughter does she grow up learning as she goes to figure out where you do go and where you definitely don't go?
Yes, we have, there have been a lot of talks with our daughter because she's 4 now, which is wonderful. But it also means, you want to be part of everything. So like when we're feeding the crocodiles, she's like, why can't I be in there with you? She's like crying, I just want to feed the crocodiles. We're like, well, this is why you can't and why you have to wait till you're 18. But it's really that education, and kids are so good. They're like little sponges. They just absorb so much information. So we've started really slow with her, like tortoises and wombats and echidnas and animals that we know 100% she is safe with. And it's getting her used to reading the cues of these animals, understanding how they work. And then you kind of slowly work your way up from there. And that's what my parents did with me. It was like a slow progression as I got older. And then I guess it's kind of like becomes second nature. You start to really understand how animals work and move, and you're able to predict them more. So we've started her off really slow, but there are definitely regulations. Like there are rules. You cannot go in. Hard no, hard pass.
Yes.
But it's tricky because she wants to be part of everything. So it's finding that balance between, I want her to be curious and love these animals. I never want her to be worried, but it's also saying like, hey, a crocodile has a sharp mouth, or this snake, we say venomous snakes are hot because kids don't really understand venomous. So we'll say this snake is hot, so you can't come near it. And it's finding ways to communicate with them and help them understand. But Grace, oh my goodness, she is a wild child. I mean, she has my dad's personality. I did not expect that. Having a little one, I was like, where did this come from? Oh, my dad. And living in a zoo is so special because she's able to run around and have so much fun. But at the same time, she's like, I'm going to climb higher in this tree, or, I can do this by myself. I'm fine. I'm like, well, you're 4. So
right.
we need to workshop this. But no, it is so much fun. I do have to ask though, do you have a favorite animal?
Oh, that's such a good question.
It is hard, isn't it?
I will say, I think just because of the proximity, I would say dogs, just because we can have them, right? Like you get to coexist with them and enjoy them. There are a number of animals that if I got to see them close up or even like interact with, that I fully believe I would cry tears of joy.
I get that.
The short list would be like elephants, just because they're so majestic and intelligent.
Yeah.
Orangutans, just because, again, intelligent, but also funny in the way that they move, in the way that they work out sort of just things. Like when they wrap themselves in their sheets and they're like messing around in the hammocks at the zoo, I'm like, this is incredible. You're perfect. And gibbons, I think, are so funny the way they swing.
They're so beautiful.
The girls love them at the zoo. So then we can both stand there and watch them and both be fulfilled.
The elephants that you mentioned being one of your favorites, one of my most memorable moments was we had this woman who was working with us and she was pregnant, but nobody knew that she was pregnant. And the elephants came up to her and they were just putting their trunks all over her belly, like just feeling her belly, and they're like making sounds and their eyes are really big. And we were going like, are you okay? What is happening? We hadn't experienced this before. She goes, oh my goodness, I haven't even told my mum yet, but I'm pregnant. Because the elephants just completely gave her away because they were going, oh my word, you have a baby, and we're so excited. And just this intelligence is remarkable. And I think as humans, we underestimate that so often. Like you say with dogs, I mean, they are our family. They are our 100% a part of our world. Yes. And they know it. And it's not like, a dog is a dog. It has dog behaviors. They connect with us just as much as we do with them. And it is so special. I've watched people just break down crying all the time because like the wombat will come over to them and just kind of like rest on their leg. And it's just so beautiful and moving and inspiring. And that is what we need in life. We need more of that connection and more of those moments where we feel genuinely inspired, because it is different. It's different if you see something on TV, whether you experience it in real life. Like if you're holding a koala and you can smell how it smells like eucalyptus, it's just this unbelievable feeling. And that's what we need more of.
Yes.
I love so much that my dad was able to bring people for these adventures through the television screen. I think he did it the best. I mean, he worked so hard to be
unmatched
come
energy
with me.
Yes.
Like his energy. I don't even know if there's a chart for that. He was just like out of this world. But that's why it worked so well, because he wanted you to experience these animals. And if you weren't able to come to Australia Zoo, then he was just going to bring you one way or another with him.
He had a way about his tone to be like, it was the most inviting enthusiasm. Absolutely. Where it was like, and you could feel the passion. You could feel the passion of when he spoke about every single animal that he spoke about. And that I felt like that's what gave me the connection watching when I was growing up. Yeah. That it was like, oh, he's excited. Now I'm excited. Tell me all the things I could possibly know about this animal. And it could have been like, I mean, I still remember it was like a frog on a tree or a snake like up high in a branch. And it was like this overwhelming sense of enthusiasm about it, where it was like, you're as excited about this little frog as I would be seeing that little frog. And it's those types of things where it's like, obviously you would get excited about seeing a majestic herd of elephants, but at the same time, he would bring that same level of enthusiasm to a little tree frog.
Thank you.
I will say we do a segment here called Coach Me Up.
Yeah.
Except this time I don't need you to coach me up, because Queen Emma, my producer, she was like, if someone, maybe you wouldn't want to hold a snake. And I was like, no, I'd hold a snake. And she was like, maybe you wouldn't want to hold a spider. And I was like, no, I'd hold a spider. I currently will like scoop spiders up in my house and take them outside.
That's awesome.
But if someone else, because I feel like those are some of the top fears of not holding snakes, not holding spiders. If you had to help someone face this fear and hold a snake or a tarantula, how would you coach them up?
See, this is a really good question, and also very important, because people get so phobic of things like snakes that they actually come into Australia Zoo to have like snake therapy. So like, because they'll see their garden hose and have an actual anxiety attack. So firstly, I have to say it is okay to be fearful of certain animals, but my advice is always to start slow. So whether you name the animal, so if you see a spider in the corner of your room and you're like, okay, what is the least threatening name I can think of? Like, I'm going to name this little spider Sheldon, and Sheldon is over there, and I have to know it's going to be okay, and work your way up to it. So we start really slow with our snake therapy. Like, we go, just look at the animal, let us teach you about it. The knowledge of knowing how an animal moves and acts takes half the fear out of it. I know it sounds scary, but if you can visit like a local wildlife park or something, and you're able to spend time just in the vicinity of these animals, that exposure really helps.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of holding spiders and snakes, your brother, Robert, was recently announced as a contestant on Dancing with the Stars, and he came out with a snake draped around his shoulders as his sister. What has it been like to see the entire internet go nuts for your brother?
Wow. I will say there are some things as his sister that I can't just unsee.
Yep.
Like, this is, yes, because when he did the dancing announcement, he was also just shirtless, and he recently did his like Bonds commercial where he was just in his underwear, and it is rough. Like, I really want to be supportive. I really am so proud of him. You know, he's taking the message of conservation to new heights.
Well, that's the best part. The best part about it is that my algorithm showed me someone saying how disappointed he must be that there's a group of people in the comments of the ad being like, oh my gosh, I loved your dad. And that, like, that's not the point.
That's not the place. Like,
yeah. And I'm like, oh no, that would definitely be my thoughts. That I'm just like, oh my God, I loved your dad.
I know.
And then on top of it, like, he did a great turn, because the other thing that I did see related to that was him saying, now that you've seen my ad, we have a gala in Las Vegas.
Totally.
He turned it right back to conservation. So he kind of nailed the, hey, look over here, steer him in the right direction. Yes. I can really appreciate that.
Yes. And I think I was probably liking and commenting on his steering in the other direction posts more so than his.
Maybe that's why I got hit on that algorithm.
Yeah. But it's so cool, like watching him take the message, because we have a charity called Wildlife Warriors, and watching him grab people's attention in such a big way and then pivot and say, here's what we do, here's our work, here's our dedication to wildlife and conservation, and you can get involved. It is wonderful and extraordinary to watch him just shine. I mean, he's my little brother, so we're about 5.5 years apart. So I kind of feel like his second mum, where I'm kind of a mother hen. I'm like always trying to protect him, make sure he's okay. And I have been that way his whole life. And now just watching him shine and flourish and find his own path and voice, and it is so inspiring. Do I get a little bit scared of the women and girls and some guys that kind of are very intense?
Sure.
It's a lot. It can be a lot. But he's doing really well with all of it, and I am very proud of him. But yes,
it was a smooth bait and switch. He
does very well with that.
I respect it. I like that he steered them right into where they were supposed. He was like, hey, look over here. But actually, let's do something that means a lot.
Conservation. Thank you. Yes. I'll tell him. Thank you.
I have been on record before saying that my brother-in-law, Travis, is definitely king of the Funcles. Fununcles.
We say the same.
What is Robert like as an uncle?
He is such a good uncle. We actually call him a Funkle as well. He earned
the title.
It's true. And it's so cool too, because as Grace has grown up, like she just gets more and more excited to go on Uncle Robert adventures, because he kind of like pushes the limits a little. He does fun things and exciting things, and so she loves it. And he is so present with her, which I love so much. I think because we're a family business. So we run Australia Zoo together, and we do everything as a family unit. So it's kind of unique in the fact that we are our life is our work, right? So we are so involved in everything. So it's really nice that Grace has such a close-knit family, and I watch her, and she is just so happy when Robert comes and like picks her up and he takes her off for an adventure. She just lights up, and it's just really lovely knowing that she's always going to have that. She'll always have our little family unit and that love surrounding her. And it's the same, like when we were growing up as kids, me and Robert, it's very similar with Dad. He would do the same thing where he would just pick us up and be like, okay, we're going to go hike up this mountain. Well, we're heading to the Simpson Desert to research fear snakes. And off we would go. And it was just normal to us. And I love that Dad was such an adventurer. And I see that in Robert. Like he is so similar to Dad. And I'm really glad that Grace is going to have that energy in her life, like she would have had from Dad. We call him Grandpa Crocodile, and it's fun because she gets to watch his documentaries, and it's really special. But I think Robert kind of brings that fun and adventure to our lives, and especially for her, it's really wonderful. So I'm very grateful for him.
I think seeing the uncle relationship, especially like with our girls, even just the other day, my husband was on a call on the computer, and they assumed that he was on the podcast with Travis. Yeah. And they were like, we go say, our youngest, our second youngest now, said, I go say hi to Uncle Trav. And I was like, I don't think he's on the phone with Uncle Trav. And they were convinced that just because he was on the computer, they were like, we're going to go say hi to, and I'm like, girls, it's not Uncle, but like the enthusiasm, like they just know that when he comes, he's going to lock in, that he's going to give them his undivided attention. They're going to be like, can you get on the floor? And he's going to be like already down there.
Yep.
So it's like, they have they have a zest that has been worn down. It's been worn down.
I'm with you.
I'm like, you want me to?
I'm so tired.
Like, if I get down on the floor, I might fall asleep.
Yes. Yes. I'm the same way. My body is like, I can't do it. I'm too tired. Yes. Oh my gosh.
I always look at the floor and I'm like, will I be able to get up?
Yes. No.
Is this a good idea?
No, it's too much. So it is really nice to have someone who is fresh and fun.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? So you can just go, okay, you've
got him.
You got this. I'm going to have a warm cup of coffee for 5 minutes, and maybe have a shower, because that would be nice.
Those are my two like self-care. If I can get a good shower and a cup of coffee and be able to drink it while it's still hot.
Yes.
It's a good day. Good day.
It's so funny. I was watching some video that popped up the other day about how this person was shocked that women, didn't shower sometimes because they have their kids. And they're like, how is that possible that you don't shower? I'm like, you kidding me? I don't think I know a mother on earth that has gotten consistent showers in her life since becoming a mum. You just don't. Mm-mm. It's survival.
No. That's it. Yes. We might not be thriving at the moment, but we're surviving and we're doing okay about it.
Totally. And that is our best.
We're fine.
Yes. So have the fun uncle come over and everything will be okay. Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Yes. I'd love to talk a little bit more about your foundation, Wildlife Warriors. I know that you also have a lot of events in support of it, including the Steve Irwin Gala that we talked about, which you shared you weren't able to attend this year because of an emergency surgery. First of all, how are you feeling?
Thank you. I am better every day. This is the first day I have worn pants since my surgery. So big moment. I've been in like those really flowy, dresses and things because but it's good. They removed my appendix and they stitched up a hernia, and I also had some more endometriosis, which they removed, which I'm really grateful for. So endometriosis has been part of my life since, I was 13. So it's been a long journey, but they removed more lesions, which is really exciting. And the disease itself goes undiagnosed for many, many years for most women who have it. So it's really tricky. And I'm very glad that they found more to take out. So it's up and up where every day is better. But I'm excited. Hopefully no more surgery for a little while because I've had a few now.
I really appreciate that you've been so open about your health, specifically about your endometriosis. I think I know that people in my life who have been diagnosed with it, who may have had like severe periods or severe cramps and had a lot of pain or other symptoms, that they were then sort of brushed off as like, oh, this might just be your norm.
Yeah.
But you say that you've been on record saying that doctors initially told you your endometriosis pain might have just been part of being a woman. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how mad that makes me, because it's like the epitome of us falling short when it comes to women's health. But how long did it take you to find a doctor who actually took you seriously and diagnosed you correctly?
Yeah, it took me 10 years. So it was 10 years before I had my first surgery. And I cannot even remember how many doctors I went to. Doctor after doctor, specialists. I mean, I had every test you could imagine, blood tests and CT scans and MRIs and X-rays and just you name it, I was checked for it. And what's interesting is that nothing showed up on all of those tests. I mean, according to those tests, I was a healthy young woman. And I kept saying like, this can't be normal, because I was in agonizing pain. And it was around my period. I would have this horrible pain during my period, but then it started kind of echoing out into every day of my life. So I was in pain every day, and suddenly the nausea and the fatigue was catching up to me every single day. And it actually wasn't until I had our daughter that I just plummeted, like the snowball effect. It got so much worse. And my pain, I would just lay on the floor because I just couldn't move. So I finally found a doctor in New York. His name is Dr. Seshkin, and he was so kind. He said, I guarantee you have endometriosis, but nothing shows up on tests. So the only way to find it is to do that exploratory surgery. So he went in and looked for it and found 38 lesions and a chocolate cyst. And that validation, I woke up and he said, I don't know how you functioned being in this much pain every day. And that moment of just going, it wasn't in my head. One doctor said to me, you should try prioritizing meditation and have a cup of tea in the evenings to try to like clear your, mental state. And I was like,
Sure.
This isn't a mental problem. Like, I can't function. This isn't in my mind. But you start to believe it. Like, if enough doctors tell you that you're crazy, basically, this is just being a woman, you're hormonal, you start to think, well, maybe I am just wildly anxious or depressed or something. But it's not like it's not normal to be in pain. I think we need to turn the tide and believe girls and women. So if somebody comes in and says, I don't feel well, we need to believe them and then figure out what's going on and not just say, do you want an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety? Because I was offered that medication and I'm like, that's not what this is. I don't feel well.
I will tell you, the doctor that told you can have a cup of tea can shove that cup of tea right up. You know what?
Yes.
Take your cup of tea and shove it. Your explanation of like that validation of waking up from surgery and hearing from the doctor, like, I don't know how you were sort of going about your daily life with what was going on. I feel like to go so long and being told like, oh, it's in your head, or maybe you just have a low pain tolerance. Like maybe this is just what your period is. Maybe this is just your experience in life. Yep. To be told that over and over again. And then to have a doctor look at you and say like, hey, we got eyes on this and I don't know how you were functioning is such a shift in sort of like that pain tolerance, that strength of like being able to overcome those things. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine how that was a sigh of relief of like, okay, because once you have an answer like that, not only do you have validation for what you've been feeling or thinking, but then you also have the ability to get on a path to help heal yourself.
Yes.
Right? So then it's on your radar for down the road. If you have another uptick in symptoms, you know that you can go back and take care of, maybe you have more lesions or things like that that need to be addressed. But ultimately having that answer and that diagnosis not only says you're not crazy, but it also says now we know what we're treating you for.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, Kylie here again. You might recall I was just talking to you about my favorite Cheerios earlier in this episode. Turns out I love Cheerios so much, I'm back for more. My favorite kind of Cheerios? Honey Nut Cheerios. I love Honey Nut Cheerios in a fairly large bowl with ice cold milk. Ice cold. Here's the trick. If you're getting the bowl out of a hot dishwasher, because I did this last week, I rinsed my bowl with cool water before I put my milk in. I'm committed, guys. Ice cold milk, Honey Nut Cheerios, sliced bananas. How about that? I've been eating that since I was very little. That's a Big Ed staple. I'm also relying on Cheerios for my kids' breakfast. Plus, it makes for a very convenient toddler snack. Cheerios are a solution for the whole family. Now, you can also try Cheerios Protein. It's protein that's actually tasty with 8 grams per serving. They've also got new cookies and cream flavor. Try Cheerios Protein today. Head to Cheerios.com for more info. I'd love to talk to you about parenting a little bit more. There's something I know my kids would definitely want me to ask you, and I think I already know the answer. But how big is Bluey in your household?
Oh my goodness. Bluey is life. Bluey is everything.
We watch it every night before bed. Because they're short little episodes. It's like our transition into shower and bedtime.
My brother was actually a voice on Bluey, if you can believe it. He played Alfie.
Yes, in the store where they're shopping for the We were watching the episode and this is such a weird thing. I say my superpower when I'm pregnant, which is the lamest superpower to get, but I swear when I hear like animated voices, I can pick out who it was.
That is a cool superpower.
But it's only when I'm pregnant. So I'm done with it now. But I was sitting there and I was like, why does that person sound familiar? And it took me a little while, but I eventually got there. But my husband and I will watch Bluey with our girls, and we are like, I feel like we should be taking notes from Chili and Bandit because
me too.
They're just so good. You also just put out a new children's book about your life at the Australia Zoo called You Are a Wildlife Warrior, which I cannot wait to check out. How did your daughter react to seeing herself in the book for the first time?
Oh my goodness, it was so cute. So I started working on this book when Grace was born because I just held this perfect little tiny human and went, oh my goodness, her life is going to be so special and unique and unusual. I mean, we live at a zoo, so it is wild. So I wanted to tell her story growing up through her eyes, our home and our connection with wildlife. And so it has finally come together and it's so special. But watching her read through the book is the cutest thing because I asked her which animals she wanted included in the book. So all of her best friends, best animal friends are in the story. So whether that's Brandy the koala or DJ the rhino or Forrest the giraffe, they're all in there. So when I showed her the book, I was like, Grace, look, that's you and Mama. And I was so excited to show her illustration. She did not care that she was in the book. She only cared. She's like, yeah, but where are my friends that you told me would be in? So we had to flick through to all the animals because she was like, yeah, okay, that's me, but where is Forrest? Like, let's get to the part where he's there. So, I mean, it was the most honest 4-year-old
that just
thing.
About sums up being a wildlife warrior. You're more excited to see the wildlife than you are yourself in a published book.
Thank you for asking about it. I'm so proud of this book,
course.
and I can't believe it feels like my next baby. I never knew how much work it would be to write a children's book, but it's so fun. So thank you.
My last and most important question for you is, what's the easiest way people at home can support wildlife conservation?
Oh my goodness. There are so many ways you can get involved. Simple things like choosing to turn off the tap while you brush your teeth or choosing a reusable water bottle. Those little things, walking to work, those little things really help. But if you want to make a bigger difference, volunteering your time is so important. If you have the ability to volunteer at a local wildlife hospital or center, if you are able to get involved by hosting a clean up the beach day or clean up the park day, any way that you can give your time to help the planet is phenomenal. And then also, if you want to learn more about our conservation work, you can go to wildlifewarriors.org and see all of our wonderful conservation initiatives. And I think that we all have the unique opportunity to leave a legacy and make a difference for the future generations. So any way you are able to get involved is making a difference. You just have to start. So yeah.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
We obviously we discussed how you weren't able to make the gala. But we would love to provide a link. So we will provide a link in our show description. If you are not watching on YouTube, you will also find the link on our Not Gonna Lie social media. And we will be making a donation to the Wildlife Warriors from Not Gonna Lie. We are so inspired by your work. We are so, so grateful that you came to chat with me today. It is beyond an honor. Please tell your mom I said hi, because I would be remiss if I did not mention that. As if she's going to you're going to be like, Kylie said hi. And she's going to be like, who the heck is Kylie?
No,
and I'm okay with that.
She's actually
I just
here
need
today.
you to say hello.
She's going to be so stoked. So thank you. I definitely will. But no, thank you for everything and for being a wildlife warrior. You are an honorary wildlife warrior. You are now
thank you so much.
Part of our family. And I am going to be sending you a khaki uniform for when you come and visit.
Perfect. Thank you so much again to Bindi Irwin for joining me today. You can purchase her book, You Are a Wildlife Warrior, right now. And thank you so much to our friends at Disney for helping us get a strong Wi-Fi connection to make sure that my conversation with Bindi was uninterrupted and as amazing as it was. And you can find even more clips from my longer conversation with Bindi on my YouTube channel on More Shit Monday. Follow us on social at NGL with Kylie. In the meantime, if you haven't already seen it, I was lucky enough to join my friend Susie Schuster on her show Women's Sports Now, exclusively on Roku. So check that out. Not Gonna Lie is a Wave original brought to you by Cheerios. Thank you to the real ones for tuning in.